Hi, I'm Baladi, strength and conditioning coach here at Fresno Pacific University.
Hi, I'm Guzman. I'm one of the athletic trainers for Fresno Pacific University.
And we're in that fitness center today on campus, showing you some different flexibility options and stretches for you to use pre and post practice.
So today what we want to do, we want to put together just a simple video of static stretching. The difference between static stretching versus dynamic stretching. Static is when you hold a position. Dynamic means to change in movement. So that's when we swing our legs, do karaokes and things like that. So let's go over a couple rules and regulations of doing static stretching. Okay, so whenever you do static stretching, it is very important that you hold the stretch for a minimum of 45 seconds to a minute. Okay, most people, if we're being honest, we hold the stretch, quad, whatever. We hold it for about 30 seconds max, 20 seconds, sometimes even 10 seconds, right? All you're doing when you hold a position like that is stretching the nerves more than anything. You're not getting actual lengthening of the fibers. That's why people who do yoga are so flexible, because they actually hold the position for longer than a minute. They hold it for about 2 minutes sometimes. The other thing is direct line of pull. So some of you may have heard of this and know about this. A lot of times we see people hold a stretch like this, right? Quads way out, triceps way out here. A direct line of pull is what we refer to when we want a perfect line to get the most amount of stretch, the optimal stretch on a muscle. So if I'm doing my quad, right, I want to have a direct line of pull up and down, okay? Not out here, all right? A couple other things. When you're stretching, breathing is so important. When you inhale, the muscles kind of inflate. They don't relax. But when you exhale, that is the time to pull on the muscle and get a solid stretch out of it, okay? And remember, you gotta relax. If you don't relax, you're just gonna be fighting the muscle, all right? So what is the value of static stretching, Danny? Why would we do this?
The value of static stretching is to increase our flexibility, of course, to minimize injury, and to feel better all around. I mean, if your muscles are tight, you're not going to function nearly as well. Your muscles aren't going to be nearly as efficient. So stretching will help positively in both of those ways, in making sure our muscles are actually lengthened and we're not as tight, and subsequently that leads to less injuries across the board.
Very good. Okay, so we're going to go through these stretches from the neck down, one by one, all right? So the first one we're going to do is the neck, and I'm just going to instruct Danny as he walks through the stretches. So this is the neck stretch. I want you to bring your arm across. He's going to tuck his hand, and this would be considered the chicken wing side. He's going to take that hand, he's going to grab the top of his head, right there. He's going to pull his head on over. You're going to get a stretch right down the middle of the neck, okay? Now we want to do 3 different angles to get 3 different parts of the neck. We want to get the middle, the front, and the back fibers. How do you get the front fibers? Well, Danny, you're going to grab your chin. He's going to push up and away. He's going to feel the stretch right on the front fibers here. All right. If we want to go after the back, I call this the de-stressor for a reason. He's going to grab towards the back of his head. He's going to pull down and away, like at an angle. And here he's going to get the posterior fibers. All right. And we hold a lot of tension up here in our necks and in our upper traps. This is a great stretch in order to release some of that tension. Remember to hold these stretches for about 45 seconds minimum to 60 seconds, okay? So that is the neck stretch in 3 different angles. So now we're going to do the chest stretch. A lot of people want to grab a wall or something, just open up their arms, right? It puts a lot of stress on the shoulder. So one that takes a little bit of stress off, clasp your hands, and he's going to drop down, and he's going to open up his chest. There we go. This position is going to keep your shoulders safe from overstretching the ligaments, and it's also going to get a good stretch wide across the chest. And yes, there are a lot of other stretches that we can do for the chest. This is just one simple static stretch that you can do. All right, so that is the chest stretch. Next one, we're going to go into the upper back. So our upper back, once again, gets very tight. We hold a lot of tension and stress up here. Simple. Just take your hands. You're going to clasp them there. You can either fold your fingers or go palms flat. You're just going to round out the back. You're going to round the shoulders. And you're going to separate the middle fibers of the traps. All right? Very good. So that is the upper back static stretch. Next one is the rhomboids. So rhomboids, if you don't know, are a pair of muscles that's in the mid-back. They're kind of angled. So a way to get those, take your wrist, he's going to pull it into his left or opposite pocket here, and he's going to stretch at an angle. And that's going to get right to a certain muscle. Anyone who works back, you'll know exactly what this is the second you get it sore. This is a great stretch for that. So that is the rhomboid stretch. All right? Deltoid. Now, next we like to go down the arms. All right? So how do we get the deltoid? This one's common. Everyone knows it. It's going to take your arm and pull straight across. But here's the thing. I was talking about direct line pull. Most often, we see people grab right here, right? Comfortably. Just lay it down. But that's not a direct line pull. It's at an angle. What you want to do is take your bicep and, yeah, there you go. You want to pretty much put it right into your neck and pull across. You want to get a direct line of pull straight across, all right? So yeah, that is the deltoid stretch, all right? Tricep stretch. The tricep is our back fibers on the back of the muscle here, on the back of the arm. So, once again, direct line pull. So a lot of times we see people stretch their tricep and their arm goes way out wide to an angle. Never again should you do that. You should always grab like a rope, a towel, a glove, whatever you have. That way, you can get this tricep and try to bring it as close to your hip as possible and pull directly back. Alright? A lot of times when we have a bad direct line of pull, we start to feel this in the armpit and out in the lats a little bit. But as soon as you take that angle and you line it up directly, it's a perfect pull right along the tricep. Alright? So that is the tricep stretch. Okay, so now we're going to do the bicep stretch. So bicep is an odd muscle to stretch because it doesn't go into full extension. But one that we can do is you can take your hand, find like a corner of a wall or a door, just like this, place it against the wall, get your wrist to open up, and then open slowly, and you're going to feel this stretch go from down your forearm straight into the bicep, okay? You don't want to try to put this on your chest. You want to get the stretch here first and then straight down the bicep, all right? So that is our bicep stretch. So how do we move down from there? We want to go after the forearms, okay? So something that you can do for the forearms is pretty simple. Most of us just naturally do this one. You can either take your palm and go downwards. I like this one right here. Or you can go flip it and go the other way. Both of them are going to go after our flexor tendons. If you want to go after the extensor tendons on the top of the wrist, you can do this motion. But be careful about our wrist joint. It's very brittle right there, and you don't want to put too much pressure on it. It's uncomfortable. So only when it's really tight, you want to really pull on that one like that. All right? So that is our forearm, wrist flexor, and extensor stretch. So now we're going to move into the back a little bit more. One of the most important muscles in our body, a big muscle, is the lat, right? Big boy runs right here, comes all the way back down, all right? So two ways I like to stretch this one. You're going to take, you can either come here, grab your wrist, and pull. And now you can pull your own arm and get a lot of stretch here. Another way that you can do it, take your arm, your hand, put it right down in your pocket there, slide on down, and look up. You want to be looking right here on the eye of the elbow a little bit, right there. Okay, feeling that shoot all the way down the lat. Okay, so that's the latissimus dorsi stretch. All right, so the next one is mid-back. One that I like to do is cat and cow, or cat and camel, however you like to call it. This one's getting away from static stretching a little bit, but it's great for our mid-back and mobility and flexibility. So cat or camel or cow is when you dip your low back. You want to push down and you breathe in. And then on the exhale, you push through and you lift the mid-back. This is the cat part. All right, and we round the shoulders, we're pushing through. Okay, this is going to create great flexibility, great mobility. It's just an all-around good stretch that we should all be doing. All right, so now how to get to the low back. A lot of different ways, but one of the ones I like to do is the child's pose. So you're going to pretty much sit your heels flat, put your butt back on your heels, and walk forward as far as you can without lifting your butt, or as little as possible. There you go. And you're going to feel this one stretch lower back all the way up. Okay? Now you can take your hands and you can walk them to the right or the left and get different stretches. So if you walk this way, you're going to feel it shoot here. If you walk back the other way, you're going to feel it shoot down the opposite side. So that's child's pose in different angles, different variations. Okay, so another low back stretch that we're going to do here. There's a muscle called the Quadratus lumborum. Don't worry about the name, just call it the QL. It's a deep muscle in our back, and a lot of times we get a lot of problems with tightness, and we don't blame the QL, we blame other things. And a lot of times this is just a simple muscle to stretch out and take a lot of problems away. So one thing that we like to do to get to this one, and everyone should be incorporating this, you want to stand at the wall, find like an edge or something, or a doorway. If you're going to go to your left, and you're going to get the left QL, you want to take that foot, tuck it behind the right. You want to reach your hands on this side of the wall. There you go. And your goal here is to kind of stick your butt out at a 45-degree angle. At first, you're going to feel this in the lats, but then play around with the movement and the stretch until you feel it right in here in the low back. Okay, that'll be going directly after the QL. That's why it's important to do the lat stretch before this. That way you can have some looseness and kind of directly stretch right at the QL. All right, so thank you very much, Dan. So that is our QL Quadratus lumborum stretch. Okay, so now let's move into the lower body a little bit more. We're going to go after our glutes. If you don't know, there is actually 3 glutes: the glute max, glute med, and glute min. The glute med and min are very important muscles. They're external rotator right here in the back, and a lot of us don't go after them very often. We need to do it a lot more. So a simple way to go after the butt stretch in general is to take one foot, place it on top of the knee of the other. There you go. Just cross like that. Now what you're going to do is you're going to reach through the hole with one hand and grab behind your thigh. You're going to pull with your biceps back to your chest. Right there you're already going to feel a stretch. If you don't, or if you want to go after it even more, take this elbow, put it right on the inside of your knee, and while you pull in, push out at the same time and get the knee to rotate this way, and you'll get it even deeper. All right? So this is our glute stretch, glute max, med, min. It's a very good one. All right? One thing I want to cover that we said in the rules earlier, whenever you stretch, you need to go into your comfort zone, and to get a stretch that's where you're going to be able to last longer than 45 seconds, you need to go just past your comfort zone. So if you're going to be stretching and pulling some on tight muscles, a lot of people, they pull them really far and they hold a really hard stretch for 10 seconds rather than just going outside their comfort zone and holding that. You will get a stretch. You don't need to go very far. All right? Okay, so this is going to be our quadriceps stretch. It's going to be our big muscles right in the front here. So one of the ways that I like to do this, normally you'll see holding the knee in this position, right? And this is where I want to get back to explaining direct line of pull. A lot of times we see holding the foot out or the knee way out wide. What we actually want to do is get a direct line of pull right down the middle, just like this, okay? That's going to get you a better stretch of the quad. Now, you can hold it like that. That's one good way of doing it, but here's a deeper stretch of the quad, and it involves the hip flexors as well. You'll start in a quadruped position, as we call it. Hands and knees here. And then say I want to go after the left quad, okay? I'm going to slide my right foot through, tuck my foot right underneath the knee right here. Okay, I'm going to reach back, grab my foot, and pull. Now, from here, you can get the quad in 3 different positions. You can either stay down low, and go about midway, or you can stand all the way up. Now, when you get up high, it's kind of hard to keep the balance. So one thing that you could do is like hold on to a ball or something. So you can just go like this and hold on to something for your balance. So that is our quad static stretch. Okay, so our next stretch is going to be for our groin muscles, or adductors as we call them. So a lot of times athletes are going to get really sore right in here. So there's a lot of different stretches we can do here. A lot of times we see these going back and forth. These are good stretches, they really are. But one that I like to do just kind of helps you hold the position for a long time. Start with your feet pointed out slightly like this. Get into a squatted position. If you don't have a lot of flexibility, a lot of times your heels are going to come up. Okay, tuck your elbows right into the insides of your knees like this, and now you can press out and lean forward. Okay, all right, you can do this and hold your stretch in this position. All right? Remember, anytime you come out of a stretch, you come out slower than when you went in. All right, so that is our groin adductor stretch. So our next muscle is going to be, well, it's not really a muscle. It's called the IT band. We always hear about the IT band, this length of fibrous tissue. It's not actually a muscle. But that fibrous tissue actually attaches to muscles. One of the most important ones being a small one here on the side of the hip called the TFL, right? So a lot of people try to stretch out the IT band, but you don't really stretch out the IT band. You stretch out the muscles attached to it, thus giving slack to the IT band. Okay, so one of the ways that I like to go after that is a static stretch. You find yourself a table or something for your height. Like right here, this is just below my waistline. That's about table height. All right, so you're gonna step, get close to the table, put your foot up on it, okay? And all you do from here, it doesn't take much. You just take this opposite leg, bend, and you go straight down. This is going to put a pull right here. Similar to the glute med stretch, but it's going to go more towards the outside, just slightly more. Alright, and then just be careful that you're not rounding forward too much, keeping your chest and head up, and you're just going straight down like an elevator, okay? Alright, so that is our IT band slash muscle stretch. Okay, so now we're going to go over our hamstring stretch, one of the tightest parts of our body. We need to go out after this every time we stretch, okay? Most commonly, what do we see when people stretch? They drop down to their toes, all right? That's a common stretch. But what do you notice? My back rounds in order to get me this far. What were to happen if we were to lock the pelvis? Well, let's see. So, what I want you to do, you're going to step out like you're on a tightrope, like you're on a line. So Danny's feet are pretty narrow here. You want to step out where you're not doing the splits, but you're not standing up. You want to be comfortable, okay? That's comfortable there. Okay, now you're going to take the front toe, it's going to be pointed straight, and the back toe is going to be pointed out about 35 degrees or so, give or take, all right? So now what I want you to do, Danny, I want you to take your chest, square it up right at the wall. Perfect. Now, from here, here's the trick. When you bend over, you're going to bend over at the waist like a hinge, not round, okay? So, show off your back and butt muscles. There we go, you're showing them off. Now you're going to bend forward at the waist, and you're not going to go very far because you've locked the pelvis into place. Now the hamstrings are getting a true stretch. Feel it right about there? Okay. Now that's going down about the middle to the inside of the hamstring. So how do we get the outside of the hamstring, all right? Pretty simple. Everything stays the same. The only thing that changes, now take your feet and turn them in towards each other. So now they're going to be turned in towards each other. There we go. All the same instructions, showing off back and butt. You're going to bend forward at the waist like a hinge. Whoa, keep balance. We'll cut that. All right, so now all you're going to do is bend forward at the waist like a hinge, not round. You're going to hinge. There you go. And pretty quickly here, you're going to feel it shoot right down the outside of the hamstring. All right, so very good. That is our hamstring stretch, both middle, medial, and lateral. Okay, so now we're going to do the calves. Okay, our calves, some people get tighter than others, but it's a simple one to stretch. I want you to get into a plank position then. All right, you start off in a plank position. Now all you're going to do is go into downward dog. You're going to lift your butt just like that. And pretty simple, just bend one knee, straighten the other. Pressing down the straight leg. And you can go back and forth, or you can hold them, all right? So this one can be interchangeable with static or dynamic, or there we go. Okay, so that is our calf stretch. Last two here, we got anterior shins. A lot of times you get shin splints, right? And how is it that you're going to stretch muscles in the front of the shin? It's kind of hard. So one thing that we do here, just tuck your feet behind you like this on your knees, and if that's enough for the stretch, that's good. But if you need more, you can sit back, put your butt on your heels, you can balance yourself with your hands if you need. And if you're truly flexible, you can lean on back a little bit. All right? I'm not going to ask Danny to do this, but if you need, you can even lay all the way down. The last one, our plantar, our arches of our feet, where we get plantar fasciitis. One thing you can do, go grab a tennis ball, a pole, really a lot of things that you can utilize here, but tennis ball is most common. Just gonna put your foot on it and roll over the tough parts of the arch, and yeah, you can just keep it still on a part, or you can just roll back and forth. A lot of times you're getting like plantar fasciitis or any pain like that. One of the tricks that you can use is to freeze a water bottle, and you can just roll your foot back and forth over a frozen water bottle. You get ice, compression, rolling the whole deal. All right, so that is how we can take care of our arches and avoid things such as plantar fasciitis. Okay, so that is all of our static stretches that we wanted to show you guys. Just real quick, I want to go over the rules again that we went over in the beginning. Remember, anytime you static stretch, meaning you hold a position, you need to hold for a minimum of 45 seconds to a minute in order to get any true flexibility at actual stretching of the muscle. And for it to last, you got to hold it that long too, okay? Remember, direct line of pull. You never want to pull at an angle. If you got a muscle and you're stretching it, you want to put it in a direct line at all times, okay? Remember to always breathe. When you inhale, you don't have to pull as hard, and on the exhale, that's where you truly get the stretch. But you have to relax. Always remember that. And lastly, remember comfort zone. Anytime you go into a stretch, you don't have to go really far into the stretch to get to actually get benefits. All you have to do is go to your comfort zone and then go just outside of it and hold that for 45 seconds. If you try to go too far, you won't be able to last 45 seconds. It'll be too painful. All right. So yeah, so that's our static stretch video. I'm Jimmy Guzman. I'm one of the athletic trainers here at Fresno Pacific University.
I'm Danny Baladi, strength and conditioning coach here at Fresno Pacific University. And enjoy your stretches.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.